Hey, what's going on, guys? Appreciate you stopping by. Want to give an update on what's going on there in the Middle East as well as the global oil supply. It's been, I believe, a couple of days since I've given an update, and I have taken some notes, and I want to go ahead and relay this information. Please comment below what your thoughts are. If you've heard something else that I don't cover and you think it's pertinent, please share it. Really appreciate that. So the current military situation, it's still going on. It's still active. And although this isn't a full-scale conventional war, the strikes continue. The United States, multiple days, have continued military strikes against Iranian assets. This sounds like a broken record because it is. The hits just keep on coming, and we continue to see Iranian-backed groups getting hit following, missile and drone attacks against U.S. forces in the region, especially Jordan. You hear that quite a bit. Iranian-backed Houthi forces continue to threaten commercial shipping in both the Red Sea as well as surrounding various waterways. And I have heard of some damage due to attacks in the Red Sea, and that just continues to complicate the whole entire situation. We keep hearing about diplomatic efforts through Oman and possibly other countries trying to get an agreement and the aggression between the United States and Iran to stop. But from my understanding, Iran continues to publicly reject proposals. And one of the key issues is I believe the United States wants to have joint management of the strait. And Iran is basically saying, no, that's ours. And we will control it. We will do whatever we want. And that's it. And so these diplomatic efforts continue to fail. The United States continues to have extremely strong military forces and presence throughout the Persian Gulf, the Arabian Sea, the Red Sea, and Eastern Mediterranean. And again, I don't know if they've arrived or not, but I know within the last couple of weeks I heard about additional forces being sent. So, particularly the Strait of Hormuz, we've talked about this many times before. It remains the single most important economic issue of this conflict. Just to review a little bit, about 20, and I've heard, 20 to 30% of the world's oil supply goes through the strait. And that's one of the biggest issues is since this conflict began, the strait has been closed or very close to being closed. Around 1/5 of the global LNG exports go through the strait. That's huge. And also hundreds of commercial vessels. And I've mentioned it before, but the company that I work for, there's a variety of parts that get ordered. Some of them come from overseas, and decisions have to be made. Do you continue to ship items through the strait on boat, which takes, upwards of 45 to 60 days if it makes it through the strait, or do you pay a lot more money and you get it air freighted? That's one of the reasons why we continue to see inflation. There's a lot of reasons, but there's numerous companies out there. It's not necessarily what you're buying at the store, but these companies are needing parts that come from overseas, and they're having to get them flown in instead of shipped in. Shipping has not returned to, fully to normal, and military escorts continue to be extremely common. Shipping insurance costs remain dramatically elevated. And we have insurance companies that, last I heard, have quadrupled the cost of insuring a ship that is going through the strait. And that's causing some companies to either not ship, even though they're able to, or they're going to pass that cost on to consumers. So transit times are certainly slower. All of the supply that is being ordered is not arriving in a timely basis. Some of it is delayed indefinitely. So there are ships that are moving, but it's significantly slower than normal conditions. The global oil market has obviously been significantly disrupted, but a complete prolonged shutdown of the strait has not occurred as of yet. It's been a long shutdown, but there is still hope that it will open up and open up soon. Oil exports that go through the strait come from countries like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, the UAE, which is the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and Iran, obviously. And, together these account for a huge part of the global oil supply. Now, I covered this the other day in one of my last messages. Many of the countries that I just mentioned, except for Iran, they have been doing things trying to offset this problem with the strait. And they have increased production, and they've used alternative means to export their petroleum. Obviously, they're still wanting to make money. They're still wanting to supply the world with petroleum products. So they're looking at alternative means, whether that's ship through a different waterway, or on a ship to a different waterway, and then it gets offloaded on a pipe to another ship across a land barrier. There's the multitude of ways how this could be happening. And countries such as Brazil and Canada and even Norway have increased exports, where possible. It's not a huge impact, but every little bit counts. And with all these efforts, that still does not fully offset the importance of what normally happens in the strait. In other words, they've not been able to replace that petroleum. So what we've seen with oil prices is an absolute roller coaster. It seems like every day you hear something in the news and you expect oil prices to skyrocket, and they actually drop. And then you'll see the vice versa happens. It's much like the American stock market. It just makes no sense whatsoever. But the markets, continue to react to, the variety of missile attacks, drone attacks, continued shipping disruptions, anything that may occur in that realm. Ceasefire rumors. It's amazing how you can have the president come out and say, hey, we're getting really close to a deal, and you'll see the price of oil drop to $3 a barrel. And of course, military operations are impacting oil prices. So I don't expect to see much of anything different in the coming future. So some of the main things that the experts, so-called experts, are watching right now is, will Iran continue to escalate attacks on shipping, regardless what country they come from? Do they have that capability, and how long can they sustain these attacks? Can they continue to attack U.S. assets in the region? How many missiles do they have? How many drones do they have? How long is this going to go on for? Will the U.S. expand their military operations? The experts talk about, what if soldiers, feet on the ground, end up going into Iran? There's been discussions of tactical nuclear weapons being used. Will Gulf oil exports stabilize at all, at any level? Or is it going to continue to have the volatility that it's had? That analogy of a roller coaster really fits because, we seem to have information and evidence that there might be some negotiations, there might be an agreement. Iran will hesitate and stop attacking. The United States does the same. And then all of a sudden it flares back up. It continues to be extremely variable and volatile. On top of that, the United States Strategic Petroleum Reserve, the report just came out that it's dropped to 307 million barrels. And this has been reported before. I've talked about it. Other channels are talking about it. Prepper Now talks about it. He does a fantastic job giving summaries pretty much on a daily basis of this stuff. And 307 million barrels is considered empty and operational empty by many of the experts that say that the way that the reserve is structured and the equipment that's used and how it works, that it was not built to ever drop below around 300 million barrels. So we have dropped millions of barrels every week up until this point, and that oil is being used to offset some of what is not going through the strait. Well, that's going to come to an end at some point, and that's going to have an impact on pricing as well as supplies. I've had numerous people comment that in their area, they are seeing bags on pumps because the gas station does not have enough fuel to fill all their tanks. I've not seen that in my area, which is in the central part of Maine, but I would not be surprised if I don't start seeing it. Comment below if you've seen anything like that. What have you seen, and, give a general idea of where you're at. So I'm expecting that oil prices are going to go up, and most everything ships via petroleum products, and we're going to continue to see an incredible amount of economic pressure on you and me and everybody else as prices continue to inch up, some more than others, and not just food, but everything else. So that's it. That's my report for today. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Hit that like button. Consider subscribing if you haven't. Click that notification bell so you'll be made aware whenever I upload new content. And that's it. You guys stay safe. Take care. We'll see you next time.
So I ran from the cities and the noise and lies, found a piece of ground under open skies, hands in the dirt, sweat on my shirt, learning what living's really worth. While crooked men shake hands in rooms, selling souls to corporate suits. Society's sick, but I found the cure. A back road life, honest and pure. They can keep their throne and their golden news. This life out here's my modern exodus. I traded screens for a sunrise, callous palms, blisters, pride, planted seeds where hope